Listen to your heart, tell me who you wanna be. We can always start to believe. Listen to your heart, tell me that you understand. Cause you are the one for me. If you just believe, 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 Listen to your heart, 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 heart. Listen to your heart, 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 heart. Listen to your heart, tell me who you wanna be. We can always start to believe. Listen to your heart, tell me that you understand. Cause you are the one for me. If you just believe, if you just believe, if you just believe, if you just believe. Listen to your heart, 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 tell me who you wanna be. We can always start to believe. Listen to your heart, tell me that you understand. Cause you are the one for me. If you just believe, 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 if you just believe,
Yo, people, welcome back to another stream. I thought it was going to be a quiet day, man. We did our Real Madrid debrief earlier on with Amos, and I thought, you know what, that is it in terms of streams on this channel for the day. But then City Extra have come out. Jacob Steinberg has come out with some news regarding transfers. Very big name, as you see in the title and the thumbnail, Jamal Musiala. City are going to make a big push for Jamal Musiala. Obviously, the day after we get knocked out by Real Madrid, it's nice to get some news that you want to hear. It's nice to get some good news. Is this calculated? Is this City trying to gas us up and make us feel better for getting knocked out last night? I don't know. We're going to talk about it all. Obviously, a lot of the talking points for us, anyway, for me and Joe, about the Real Madrid game was lacking creativity, lacking flair, lacking magic, lacking spark, lacking ideation. Musiala has that in abundance, doesn't he? Anyway, guys, hit the like button. Subscribe if you're new around here. Let's have a chat. Let's have a chat about Musiala. Just hit that like button. It massively helps. Before we do have our discussion, Joe, I will read out the report. Right, here we go. Breaking. Man City are planning a big push to sign Bayern Munich's Jamal Musiala this summer, with Pep Guardiola wanting more options in attacking midfield. The 21-year-old is emerging as his top target, and it's followed on with Man City's interest in Jamal Musiala is advanced. The word advanced is in there, which is always a big word to throw in, and they are the front of the queue for the attacking midfielder. Chelsea are also monitoring the situation. Now, if we want Jamal Musiala, and so do Chelsea, we should be beating Chelsea to Jamal Musiala. There is no way Chelsea Football Club should be able to take Jamal Musiala from under our noses. This is before we talk about whether he actually wants to leave Bayern Munich. This is before we talk about the situation at Bayern Munich, the new manager, and how they're moving forward. If they win a Champions League this season, does it change things for Jamal Musiala? What does the kid himself actually want? We don't know. But off this report, there is no way on God's green earth Chelsea should be beating us to any signing. To any signing whatsoever, we should be front and centre.
Do you want to address maybe another player on the list from Piplup?
Piplup, welcome Piplup. Haven't seen you in a few days, mate. With the £2, he says Hugh hates Musiala. I'll tell you for a fact now, Piplup, I do not hate Musiala. I do not hate any of these people you suggest that I hate. I certainly don't hate Musiala. Big up Piplup for the £2. Welcome to the stream, Piplup. Make sure you hit the like button, people. Make sure you've all hit the like button. It all really does help. But yeah, that's the report, Joe. Musiala interest is advanced. Whenever I see the word advanced, it's usually a bit serious. Now, where is this source? It's Jacob Steinberg, who works for The Guardian, a football reporter for The Guardian. The Guardian is a It's a credible source. It's no Sun, it's no Football Tactico ITK on Twitter just telling us stuff to try and get interactions. This is someone who will have some sort of intel and some sort of, leg to stand on when he comes with information.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not surprised because again, the whole outpour and outcry from after Real Madrid was the team was static. The team looked like they were lacking ideas. There wasn't enough creativity, and it extends further than just Real Madrid. There was Arsenal as well in other games in and around that where we've struggled to create loads of games this season where it's looked static, predictable, not very fluid, not very creative, expressive, all of these, joy words that you associate with football. None of them can be associated with certain games, especially like Real Madrid last night. So there's clearly an avenue there that we're trying to explore with trying to get another attacking creative midfielder. Of course, the big positive there being we have another creator. We'll have someone who can also play in multiple positions across the front line as well. Doesn't necessarily have to play in midfield, can play wide, right and left if necessary. So it's not just a one position player, but versatile. He's very young, still has... he's got a lot of experience, but he still has a lot of developing left to go in his career. So that's the positives. He's a very good player. Negatives, of course, is the price. Trying to prize him away from Bayern Munich, considering he's their prized possession. And of course, where would that leave Phil Foden? If Pep is adamant that Phil Foden can't play in midfield with another attacking midfielder that we currently have in Kevin De Bruyne, if Musiala comes in, well, what does that mean? Is he still going to, not go to the two attacking midfielders? Or does signing Musiala mean we're going to lean more on playing two creative midfielders? There is, the potential that if we have more of them, he may opt to use, two in the same system. You never know. So it would be a good signing, of course, but at the end of the day, I still don't know where I stand on this one, just given the circumstances. It's going to be one hell of a task to get him out of Bayern Munich.
His contract at Bayern Munich, here it is. He's currently on €96,000 a week. So you're looking at about, what, £80,000 a week, give or take? And he has 3 years left on his deal. So his deal expires in... It says 2026, but it says 3 years remaining. So yeah,
this year
take 3 years.
This year and 2 more.
This year and 2 more. So he's not coming into the final year of his contract. He'll have, after this summer, he'll have 2 seasons left on his contract. And at that point, if you're into the last 2 seasons, for me, it's always the player has a lot of power because the clubs start to panic. The clubs start to go, we need to get this guy on a new contract, or else we need to get the best fee we can possible for Jamal Musiala. If he's not going to sign a new contract at Bayern Munich, we don't know. We're going to talk about this. Is he going to sign a new contract at Bayern Munich? They're going to need to cash in on him this summer. If they feel it's inevitable that he's going to go, they're going to need to cash in on Musiala this summer to get the best fee they possibly can. Now, Transfermarkt has him down for €110 million. Is this always accurate? No, it's not always accurate. But if it's €110 million, you're looking at around £195 million. I would personally think it would cost more. If you want to interlink this with some news about Man City a couple of weeks ago, that City are willing to break their transfer record for a player this summer. The transfer record being 100 million. Jamal Musiala, for me, is going to cost a minimum of 100 million. You would think that report was about Musiala. So if these reports are all interlinked, it sounds to me like Jamal Musiala is Manchester City's, probably alongside Paqueta, but Paqueta is in his own unique situation, top target. Top target. And I think tactically and I think refreshing-wise, it comes with a multitude of reasons. It comes with a multitude of objectives. The main objective being you're not relying on Kevin De Bruyne twice and 3 times a week next season for 90 minutes. This is if we get Musiala. You're not looking at Kevin De Bruyne and saying you must play 90 minutes 2 and 3 times a week. It's like what we did with Rodri and Fernandinho. You phase in Rodri, you phase out Fernandinho. The balance of minutes starts to switch. So Musiala can help relieve De Bruyne of those duties, those amount of minutes that amount of times a week. And then, of course, yeah, if you're going to have Musiala and Foden, neither of them really want to play out wide, do they? Both of them, of course, can play out wide, but both of them want to have central roles. They're both most effective and efficient in central roles. So if you have them both, post Kevin De Bruyne time, because in my opinion, Kevin De Bruyne is gone in the next 18 months, minimum or maximum 18 months. Kevin De Bruyne is gone. So post Kevin De Bruyne life, you have two really young players, 21 in Jamal Musiala and 23 in Phil Foden, who can now have plenty of time to form a partnership in that midfield as two attacking players. I don't know.
It's the hope, isn't it? But it's the hope that also kills you at the same time. Like, maybe he's decided. I mean, it'd be more feasible for a Foden and Musiala to work because they're both young. And I guess the reason that you can put down maybe a Foden and Kevin De Bruyne not working is because Kevin De Bruyne can't cover the pitch anymore. He can't do that. He can't run around because we all saw what happened last night. 60, 70 minutes, he was gassed. He was asking Pep, please take me off. I can't run anymore. I can't do it anymore. So that's the reality of the situation. I do think that we're coming to the end of the Kevin De Bruyne life cycle. We just are. He can't do 90 minutes. He can barely do 90 minutes once a week because he looks tired for the last 10, 20. He can't do it twice a week, certainly. So we're going to have to naturally find players who can cover for him when we don't necessarily think we need him. Of course, when it comes to the big games, there is, obviously, he still will have a part to play, but in terms of games, you look at Luton. He only played that because he didn't play in Madrid in midweek before that. Like, it's those sort of games where he doesn't need to play going forward next season. So we do need to sign someone. Again, Paqueta's in a different situation because Paqueta has a release clause. So it's a very much, with Paqueta, it's black and white. You either get him or you don't. You know what I mean? I know you can say that about any transfer, but you know what you're going to have to do to get him. He's got a release clause. You pay it, he's yours. You don't pay it, you don't get him. With Musiala, it's different because you have to take into account the circumstances. How long has he got left on his contract? Does he want to stay? Does he want to leave? Would he have his head turned? Where does he fit in the squad? How much money are we going to have to pay? All of these sorts of things. How much money does he want to be on? All them sorts of things. You have to figure out that stuff. So it's not straightforward. Transfers of this size usually are very long, drawn out, and complicated. But it's very encouraging to see that he's, top of the list because that's where we're struggling the most. You can say what you want about leaking stupid goals. I can put part of that down to the fact that there's been times this season where we've had about 3 defensive injuries and there's been no cohesion. We've tried different players in different systems and, we've even had different goalkeepers at times. Sometimes that happens. But in terms of attacking and creating chances, we've struggled so many times this season with the players that we have. We shouldn't be struggling. So it does need a refresh.
It absolutely needs a refresh. One of the things that has contributed to our success over the years so much is that we don't allow problems to arise that we can't fix now, or that we don't have time to fix. We always fix problems before they arise, i.e. we refresh in good time. We don't allow a stalemate. We don't allow a situation whereby the team has gone flat and all of a sudden we need a massive overhaul in one summer. We always do bit by bit by bit, summer by summer. And I think this summer is crucial in doing so, in continuing that life cycle. Listen, there's nearly 50 people in the building. We're not even on 20 likes, man. Let's hit those likes. Smash the big like button and subscribe if you're new around here and get your thoughts in about Jamal Musiala. He makes sense long term. I mean, there's a Bayern fan in the chat right now says, our new sporting director literally said Musiala is going to be the face of Bayern and wants to give him a new contract. Of course. When you're talking about Bayern Munich, you're talking about clubs. There's a handful of clubs who are like this. Bayern Munich, Real Madrid, once or not so long ago, Juventus, even Manchester United to an extent, and Liverpool, that these kind of clubs, when they have a prized possession young player, Musiala, of course, is German. Bayern Munich are the face of Germany. These pride-filled clubs, these big clubs, do not want their egos damaged, do not want their pride damaged, and do not want to be embarrassed by their top young asset going to a direct competitor. We are a direct competitor with Bayern Munich every season now for Champions League. They are Champions League challengers. We are Champions League challengers. They don't want that. Like, do you think can you imagine the outrage amongst the Bayern Munich fan base? If Musiala signs for Manchester City this summer, we draw them in the Champions League next season, quarterfinals, whatever, and Musiala scores and knocks them out. The Bayern fans are going, what the fuck were you doing selling him to Manchester City? So they're not going to let Musiala go at ease. They are not going to let Musiala leave to Manchester City without a massive, massive fight. So they're going to pull out all the stops to keep Musiala. New contract, higher wages. But this is another thing. Are Bayern Munich the kind of club that are going to offer a player astronomical wages? Musiala is clearly a very ambitious player, clearly thinks very highly of himself, clearly believes he has a very bright future. And, you know, that all that entails is a big wage, a big salary, and deserves to be one of the highest earners in Europe. I'm not going to knock the kid for believing that because I rate the ambition. Are Bayern Munich the kind of club that are going to match his beliefs in his own head of how much he should be earning? I'm not too sure. But they're going to pull out all the stops. New contract. Higher wages, definitely, because if he's on €96,000 a week, he definitely deserves to be on a lot more. And if they want to keep him, they're going to have to offer him a lot more and make him the face of Bayern. This is what they said to Leroy Sané, didn't they? They said to Leroy Sané a couple of years ago when they signed him off us, we're going to make you the face of Bayern, which the knock-on effect to that is you're going to be the face of club German football. You're going to represent Germany on a domestic level. So they're going to try and do the same to Musiala. But can you, as Jamal Musiala, take that seriously? Can you, as Jamal Musiala, believe that when a club and an institution the size of Bayern Munich, who are constantly churning out players, great players, young players, academy prospects, signing players like Harry Kane, Leroy Sané, so on and so forth, Sadio Mane, can you trust that you really are the face of Bayern Munich, that you really are going to be the face of Bayern Munich? Or are they just filling you full of smoke to keep you? Are they just trying to keep you? I don't know. But Musiala needs to do what's best for him. And right now, there is a vacancy slowly opening up in the Manchester City team, in the Manchester City midfield. There is a creative position slowly opening up with the slow demise of Kevin De Bruyne. I don't mean demise in the sense that De Bruyne is falling off. He's just older and he's injury prone, so he can't play week in, week out. So there is a gap opening up slowly for someone to fill in. And ultimately, when Kevin De Bruyne is gone, it's a gap that someone like Musiala can take. Phil Foden and Musiala could become the most feared midfield creative duo in Europe if they got together. Musiala has to weigh these things up. He has to look at Bayern Munich's project. What are they doing moving forward? Who are they signing moving forward? What money are they spending moving forward? Can they compete with us in terms of ambition? These are all things Musiala has to think of. If he wants Manchester City badly, he has to make it happen because there's only so much we can do. All we can do is offer Bayern Munich £110 million, £120 million, and offer Musiala the kind of figures that he wants salary-wise. But to get Bayern to agree to the deal, Musiala has to put pressure on them. Simple as.
Well, that was the downfall of Harry Kane deal, wasn't it? Where we put in an offer. We said here, Tottenham, here's an offer. I think it was, 100 million, but it was like 75 up front, 25 in bonuses, something like that. Anyway, it was around about 100 million package in total. We offered it to Tottenham. Harry Kane didn't even try and force his way out. He wanted things to happen naturally, and he didn't leave. And then that's how that deal fell apart. So if Musiala doesn't think Bayern can live up to the promises that they're giving him, or doesn't like the way the club's going, because, I mean, they're getting a new manager. I don't know who, though. I don't know who. I don't know whether you know. I really don't know who they're getting, who's available.
Who can they get? Alonso's turned them down. Pep's not in the market. Klopp's not going to go there. Who can they get that's going to make Musiala go, that's worth staying for more than pushing to go and play for Pep Guardiola?
I've heard De Zerbi's name, but that's not a name that, would go, I want to stay and play for De Zerbi. He's a good manager, don't get me wrong, I like De Zerbi, but Pep Guardiola we're talking about. There's very few managers that can compete with him. I suppose it does just kind of turn down to how happy he is, because that's the main thing there. If he's satisfied with the promises that they give him, with a wage increase, longer contract, you're the main guy, all of this, and we're going to challenge for trophies, we're going to get a new manager, you're going to play every game and all this. If he's satisfied with that, he won't leave. Because they're still a top club, Bayern Munich. We're talking about a Champions League challenger. Yeah, they're in the semi-finals. They got further than us this season. And that's with a manager that's leaving because he wasn't good enough. So they're clearly good enough to challenge for it. So if they can offer him all these promises and he believes them, and he believes that he'll be happy, then he'll stay, I think. But one hell of a turnaround if he says, no, I want off, I want to go play for Pep, because I mean, look, there is a little bit of a storyline there, isn't it, with the whole Chelsea fans getting big about Cole Palmer having one of our academy graduates being their best player. Imagine we turn around, Sam Musiala, Chelsea academy graduate.
Cobham's finest. Yeah, that would be unbelievable. Guys, there's nearly 70 people in the building. We're not even on 30 likes. Hit that thumbs up button, man. Smash the like button. Help support me and Joy Boy, and subscribe if you're new around here. We know. Look, Jamal Musiala this season, he's played 36 games in all comps, 12 goals, 7 assists. He's played 24 times as an attacking midfielder through the middle, 10 times on the left wing, and once on the right wing. So he ticks pretty well every single box that Pep Guardiola is looking for, doesn't he? He's got the goals and assists, 12 goals, 7 assists. So that's what, just or about 20 GNA, around 20 GNA. He plays a multitude of positions. He ticks every single box Pep's looking for. Now, we've spoke a lot on this channel in recent weeks about how if the club want to do their best to keep Pep Guardiola, which no doubt they do, they need to go and sign Pep's top priority signings. You know what I mean? Whatever players Pep wants the most, we need to go and get them. If Pep Guardiola has identified both Paqueta and Jamal Musiala as the two spearheaders for refreshing our midfield, refreshing our attacking options, go and get them. Go and get them. Do not dilly-dally. Do not fuck around. Go and get the players Pep Guardiola wants. Because while we have Pep Guardiola, we have this pulling power to potentially get players like Musiala, to potentially get players like Paqueta, to potentially get players like Wirtz, Bruno G, whoever, whatever players we're linked to, we need to use the pulling power of Pep Guardiola to get them in. So if Pep turns around to Tiki and says, I want Jamal Musiala, make it happen. Tiki needs to make Jamal Musiala happen. Can you imagine the refresh, the revive, the everything Jamal Musiala would bring into our midfield and just to our attacking complement altogether? You let Bernardo Silva go, if that's to be. There's not many better replacements for Bernardo Silva in our squad than Jamal Musiala. There's not. Jamal Musiala can play the same amount of positions. He's a younger version. He's probably a slightly better finisher, or will become a better finisher than Bernardo Silva. So it makes total sense. The club need to make every effort to go and get Musiala for Pep Guardiola if that's what he wants. Is it a PR tactic? It could be. But the thing is with Musiala, he's slightly unique and he's slightly outspoken. I've seen plenty of quotes and rumours about what Musiala is saying and thinking. The first one, which has been going on for a long time, is that Musiala isn't happy with the situation at Bayern. He's not happy with the way the club is run. He definitely wasn't happy under Thomas Tuchel. And he spoke a lot about how he wants to be challenging to win Ballon d'Ors. He wants to be challenging to win Europe's top honours. Now, if Bayern go and get De Zerbi, if Bayern go and get even Nagelsmann, are these the kind of guys that are going to facilitate Jamal Musiala to win these honours, both individually and as a team? Maybe. I'm not writing them off, but you have a much better chance of Pep Guardiola. That's just stating the obvious. If Pep Guardiola is your manager, like Musiala, if he signs for City, he doesn't even need to stay with us for 10, 15 years. You know what I mean? Musiala is the kind of player who could stay 3, 4, 5 years with us and then go to Real Madrid, then go to Barcelona if they get revived, then go back to Bayern if they become a powerhouse again, like a proper Bayern powerhouse of old in a few years' time. So if I was Musiala, I'd be looking at it as it's an opportunity for me to go and challenge for Premier Leagues. You know, Chelsea let him go. They didn't want him. Come back to England, do what Kevin De Bruyne did. Take the piss out of Chelsea, win leagues, win Champions Leagues, and develop under the best manager in the world, the best coach in the world, Pep Guardiola. And then whenever you decide you want to, you can leave again. Because City ain't going to force you to stay. It's a good place to come because we ain't going to hold you hostage. Bayern Munich are more likely to hold you hostage. And that's where you are right now.
I mean, I doubt it'll be Nagelsmann. He was sacked from Bayern once. I don't think he'd be going back.
Well, the Bayern fan in the chat says he's the top candidate.
Nagelsmann again. I mean, I don't know how that one will fare. Look, they sacked him. We know exactly the situation because people started panicking last season, didn't they, when they sacked him and brought in Tuchel just before we played him in the Champions League. Remember that? Everyone started panicking and going, oh, not Tuchel again. And then we wiped the floor with them. So, look, I don't know how that one will pan out. It didn't pan out the first time. Will it this time? Who knows? But if it's not gone well before, I don't know the players' relationship. There was a lot of noise when Nagelsmann with the Bayern manager, especially with the senior players, you know, the experienced players, that because he was so young of a manager, he didn't command enough respect from the senior players. and maybe they didn't get along with him. But Musiala's not one of them. Did he have a good relationship with him? Who knows? I'm not inside Bayern Munich. I don't know a lot, but again, it's one of them things where it all comes down to his happiness, what he wants. Because again, like I said, when he gets to 2 years left on the contract, the club have to make a decision whether they go for an extension or whether they get rid of the player. And the player has the power, because if they want to go and the club want to keep them, there's not really much the club can do apart from sell. Because, I mean, we've known over the years, we've seen it countless times with other clubs as well in the Premier League, that if you just wait and wait and wait and wait, the money that you could potentially get goes down and down and down and down. And it just becomes not worth holding on to the player. You'd rather just cut your losses, and although you might lose a good player, you get a good fee for them. So it all depends how much he wants. But like you said, he doesn't have to stay. There's no, he could use it as a pit stop, like a quick, 4 years, win a Champions League or something, win a few Premier Leagues, off he goes into the sunset, see you later. Like, this is, it's a potential for him to do that. And again, read into the storylines, he basically could have the same arc as Kevin De Bruyne, but just from earlier on in his career, of where he comes from the Bundesliga, signs for us, having already been in the Premier League, another one of the big clubs, comes and wins a lot of things on the red top, and all works out well. But I still don't know. I still really don't know, because Bayern are going to do everything. He's probably there in terms of players. If you were to do like a tier list, I suppose, or like a list of players that Bayern would be willing to sell from top to bottom, he'd probably be the one name at the top of don't sell, in terms of everyone that they've got, because of his future and just how good he is as a player, how versatile he is. So it's going to be difficult. Whatever goes down, even if he wants to leave, it's still going to be difficult.
Well, the ball is in Bayern's court. The ball's totally in Bayern's court. It's like we can show as much interest as we want. We can talk to agents, and we can, inquire to Bayern Munich as much as we want. But the ball is in their court as of right now. But as I say, the player power grows if you allow it to run into those last 2 years of the contract. And he's in the lower half of the table. I'm looking at their full list of earners right now and the wages that everybody earns. He's in the lower half of the table, the second half of the table when it comes to highest earners of the club. You got De Ligt earning twice the amount that Musiala's earning. You've got Koeman earning 3 times, Gnabry earning 3-4 times, Sané earning 4-5 times, and then you've got Harry Kane up at 480,000 pounds, 480,000 euro a week. So I think if Bayern want to keep Musiala, they're going to have to boost him right into the top 2-3 earners at their club. He's on 96,000 euro a week right now. It's crazy money, obviously, for the average Joe like myself and yourself. But for him, I'd say he undoubtedly views himself as worth the same money being paid out as Sané, as Kimmich, as Muller, as Neuer, as Kane. And especially if they want to keep him, they're going to have to show that faith in him and give him that money that he feels he deserves. He's such an... your wage bill's not great. Your wage bill's not great, to the Bayern fan in the chat there. But he's clearly a really ambitious kid, man. He's 21. He's clearly really ambitious from the way he speaks. He's clearly a really, really top talent. I can see why Pep Guardiola would really want him. If we could go and get both Paqueta and Musiala this summer, man, the shockwaves that would send to domestic and European teams competing with us will be monumental. Everyone's going, for fuck's sake, just as you think this City team is starting to slow down, they go and sign the hottest prospect in Germany, and one of the hottest prospects in the Premier League outside the big 6 clubs. Total refreshment, total versatility, total Pep Guardiola style players. And from Musiala's point of view, it's like, all right, he's in this Bayern team with a mixed bag of players. You got some older players, you got some decent players, you got some players that they may get rid of soon, and you got some not so great players. You come to Manchester City, you're playing with a machine. You're playing with a super team. A lot of young players: Foden, Alvarez, Haaland, Doku, Vardiol. City are on the up. City are very much on the up, and you are just going to be one of the final pieces of the jigsaw to ensuring that we have everything we need to challenge. Musiala undoubtedly would love to play with Haaland. Love to. You sign Paqueta and Musiala this summer. The fear of the drop-off we'd have when Kevin De Bruyne goes, ultimately, it lowers massively, because you're bringing in 2 hyper-creative, hyper-devastating players. I think you give Paqueta the amount of ball that we have, He's devastating. I think his own G&A improves massively. His own overall play improves massively. And given Musiala the amount of ball that we have and Haaland in front of him, his own G&A improves massively as well. I think it would strike serious fear into absolutely everybody if we pull this deal off. But as I say, it's how much Musiala wants it. The ball's in Bayern's court as of right now, but the ball is also swinging back and forth to Musiala's side of the court too. Because if Musiala turns to Bayern and says, I want out, I want to go, I don't want to be here, Bayern shouldn't be holding on to him. He's just going to cause a rift in their dressing room.
Well, I mean, yeah, he'd sure he'd appreciate playing with Haaland in front of him instead of Harry Kane behind him playing holding fucking midfield instead of number 9, because that's what he does. I'm sure he'd probably love that, but again, the ball is firmly not in our court at all. Or we can inquire, like you said, we can just inquire, ask agents, players, ask the club, whatever. We can throw money at it. At the end of the day, if there's a no sale sign on there and he's happy to stay, don't matter how much money we throw at it, it's not going to happen. So we just kind of got to wait on this one. There will be nothing will advance in this until Bayern's season is over. And, you know, they've lost the league. They're not in any cups. The only thing they're left is the Champions League. So this will probably not advance until their season is over. And well, I'd say the season end as well, because if, like the Bayern says in the chat, if, you know, the previous board's been sacked and they're going for a new manager and everything, there might be a little time to wait to see, you know, what his priorities are then. So we're going to have to wait a while. Again, he's so much different to Paqueta, because Paqueta is just, we so want him and we know that there's a release clause there waiting to be paid. We just have to wait for him to be cleared from his, you know, gambling charges if he's innocent. So he's different. Probably won't take as long, but this Musiala thing could drag out. But if the reports are to be believed that we're willing to break our transfer record and have a big summer where we spend big cash all over the pitch, sign, you know, multiple players, big refresh, then he surely has to be one of the names, because I don't see many other alternatives to break the transfer record of 100 million. You could potentially throw Wirtz, but I don't think he's going to leave now that Xabi Alonso's staying. I really don't. And apart from that, there's not many else that, you know, would push us over our transfer record. There really isn't.
I've got the full report here from The Guardian. It says Bayern will not want to lose the German international, who has 2 years in his deal and could ward off suitors by demanding a huge fee. This is also a massive possibility, that he's simply just using us as leverage. He's simply just using us as leverage. And I said this to you, chat, only a couple of weeks ago, that we are going to have to get used to this more and more. Top players around the world, when they want a new contract off their club and they want more money off their club, they're going to use us. They're going to use us as the leverage. They're going to say to their club, I want to go to Man City because they'll pay me the money. I think if we sign Musiala, he gets minimum 250, 300 grand a week. Minimum. I think that's what he's given if we sign him. So if he says that to the Bayern board, the new Bayern board, who are shitting themselves, if there is a new board at Bayern, they need to come in and make an impression straight away. They will be shitting themselves of losing Jamal Musiala. He will know that, so he'll say to them, City are offering me this. If you want me to stay, you're going to have to match it or do even better. So we're going to have to get used to this, man. We're going to have to get used to players using us as leverage all the time, using us as a scaremongering tactic all the time. Here's another piece. City's targets away from Musiala includes West Ham's Lucas Paqueta, Crystal Palace's Barrechi Eze. Any move for Paqueta depends on the Footballing Association dropping its investigation into alleged betting breaches by the Brazil midfielder who denies wrongdoing. Eze, I didn't realize, City actually didn't post about it. Eze, is he someone that we need, in your opinion?
He was like an emergency thing, wasn't he? Do you remember when we were scrambling around for a midfielder towards the end of the summer just gone? And it was sort of Paqueta, oh, he's under gambling charges. We ended up with Nunes. But Eze was another one of them names. It was like Eze and Elise in terms of like attacking options. There was Eze, Elise, Nunes, Doku, Paqueta. Paqueta got obviously done with the betting allegations, so we couldn't sign him. And then I think Elise signed a new contract, so we couldn't sign him. So we ended up with Doku and Nunes. But Eze was on the list. I think Eze was on the list, but I don't think that Palace were willing to sell, like, you know, because the season had already started. So he's been on the list before. I don't know how much money he'd cost. And I also don't know what the ceiling is for Eze. I don't know like how good he can become. Because I don't watch a lot of Crystal Palace. I know he's a good player. He's got at Anfield. Like he took 3 points off Liverpool. Like he's a good player, but a little bit unsure. On that one, given how much it would probably cost to take him off Palace. They'd probably want quite a bit. Don't know.
Guys, hit the like button, man. Hit that big thumbs up button. Just a quick reminder, and subscribe if you're new around here. There's an interesting part of this report that I think is it's good journalism, and it's a good kind of conversation to have. It says there's an argument that City have not quite replaced the goals and incision of Ilkay Gundogan and Riyad Mahrez last summer. I think we can all agree with that. Phil Foden has had a productive season, and Kevin De Bruyne remains crucial, but injuries have stopped. And so on and so forth. Questions have also been raised over the sale of Cole Palmer, who scored 23 times since joining Chelsea. So basically, the point being made here is that a lot of people are questioning Manchester City's business done over the last 6, 7, 8, 9 months, whatever, or since the last transfer window. You know, letting Gundogan go, letting Mahrez go, letting Palmer go, and not replacing these players sufficiently. Whatever about Mahrez, because we didn't know he was going to turn out the way he did at Chelsea this season. Palmer, that is. But, you know, Mahrez and Gundo are definite players that needed adequate replacing. I mean, Nam says should have got Eze instead of Nunes. Nunes, I'm not even sure what his role is in the team. So there's question marks over the business that we did last summer. City could prove these questions to be stupid by making some statements this summer. If we were to go and sign Musiala and Paqueta, all of a sudden we're all going, right, the sale of Mahrez, Gundo and Palmer, it makes sense, or at least it doesn't seem that you know, that devastating anymore. It doesn't seem that it's damaged us too much anymore, because there was obviously a plan on the pipeline. Paqueta, I think we all kind of know Paqueta was meant to come in last summer anyway, but or at least we were going to try and get him last summer, but these betting allegations put a complete stop to that. So if City could go and sign Paqueta this summer with Musiala, I said this, I was like, right, it may not short term being this season that we're in right now, seem like the best business to let Gundo and Mahrez go, and now Cole Palmer too, without sufficient replacement. But long term, you have to trust our transfer strategies, and you have to trust our scouting and our recruitment team, and the long term plan to replace these players. How many players have we seen come and go that we didn't replace straight away? We're happy to wait for the right player to come along at the right price at the right time. Company, Aguero, plenty more left backs, midfielders, you know. So it would make much more sense if we sign top players this summer. If we have another summer of signing maybe players and players that we're trying to figure out where they're going to play, and, you know, unknown quantity sort of players, can they hack it at the level of Manchester City? It doesn't show that much ambition. It just shows that, yeah, we're kind of trying and we hope these works out. We have to bring in players that we know are going to work, that we know are going to bang, or else we run the risk of a major drop-off.
Well, yeah, I don't put as much of it down to Mahrez. I know he was a guaranteed 20 to 30 G&A a season, but he fit the category of there was no plan to let him leave. It's just Saudi came calling and he said he wanted to go. And again, we don't hold players hostage, so he was allowed to go. I don't think it was within the plans at the start of the season to lose him, at least not this season, potentially next season. But he wanted to go, so we let him go because there was an offer on the table and he wanted it. So, but the Gundogan one really stings, doesn't it? And it stings more the way we let him go. I understand both sides of the argument, because I understand why Gundogan left to go to Barcelona. I really do, because they offered him a multi-year deal, which he wanted at this stage in his career for his family as well. He wanted to have security in, you know, in his personal life. So that was to him having a multi-year deal at a club, so he knows he's going to be staying put. Barcelona offered that and offered him probably untold amounts of money they found underneath the sofa. And he went there. That's why he didn't stay with us. From all the things that you've heard from Gundogan, the amount of times he's come out in post-match interviews with Barcelona and not been happy with the way the team's performing or the mentality of Barcelona and stuff like that, he never really wanted to leave. But City were very stubborn with the way they do business. We always get to this. Look at Fernandinho. When a player gets to their 30s, they're on one-year contracts, unless you're a special case, in which that special case, Kevin De Bruyne. I don't know why we put Walker on 2 years. I really don't. That one still baffles me to this day, why he wasn't still on the one-year deals. Maybe that was just because it was the only way to keep him. But then again, with Gundogan, if that was the only way to keep him, to put him on a 2-year deal, I would have done it.
Given it.
I would have
Yeah.
done it because the fact that we've let him go, or the fact that he has decided not to sign on with us, simply because we only offered him a 1 or even a 1+1 instead of a 2 years, a multi-year deal, it looks really bad now because it looks like we're paying the price. We've had times where we've had no midfield. There's been games where we really miss a Gundogan type of player. He was the captain last season as well. He was a leader. He was experienced. So that one looks bad. But I don't think the Mahrez one is too bad. But not replacing him is where we fall short. I mean, we bought Kovacic. He was a cheap stopgap. He can play the same positions, but he can't do the same things. So you're looking at moving him on, maybe even in the summer, but definitely the summer after that. I don't think he'd be staying here long-term, Kovacic. I really don't, because he's just not, at that elite level. He's a decent player, but we all knew it was a stopgap. Same thing with, not same thing, but similar thing with Núñez. It was he was available for a relatively okay price. Maybe we paid slightly over the odds. I think we did. But he was okay, and there was something about it. I still really like Núñez, but he had certain qualities that we feel like we maybe have needed. When you look at Kevin De Bruyne going down injured, he likes to run with the ball a lot. We didn't really have anyone to do that, and Núñez can do that. He hasn't really been given much of an opportunity, but he had certain qualities and he was available. And again, I don't think he was first option. We've wanted him for a while because we wanted him when he was with Sporting. I think that's why we signed him, because we've already, done our scouting and realised what sort of player that he was. We already knew what he was, which is why when Paqueta fell through, that's why we signed Núñez, because we already kind of knew a little bit about him. But where his slot is in the squad, I don't know. There doesn't seem to be a huge amount of trust from Pep because he just doesn't get the same opportunities as everybody else.
Well, that's just the bottom line. I think you've just listed off all the players that we don't dislike. We get their role, we get what they're meant to do right now, but they're not the level that we need. They're just not the level that we need. Núñez is not the level that we need. Kovacic is not the level that we need. Núñez, anyway, right now, I don't know. He could turn out to absolutely bang next season, and we're all going, okay, it makes sense. He needed a season. Pep was figuring out his plan for Núñez. Kovacic he's not that guy. Calvin Phillips, he's not that guy. Letting Gundogan go was a mistake. I think it was an absolute mistake. You listed off all the pros to keeping Gundogan, and there was just the simple fact of his presence. Even his presence alone, I think he would have played a huge amount of football this season based off the injuries. I mean, that whole 6 months that Kevin De Bruyne was out, surely we can both agree that Gundogan probably starts almost every single game.
Yeah, I mean, there's a massive hole again. I always come back to this game. Aston Villa away, it might not be the difference between us winning and losing that game. It probably won't be, but having a midfield three of Stones, Rico Lewis and Julian Alvarez going to Villa Park, you're not telling me Gundogan doesn't play in there.
Oh, he does play. He absolutely does play. Guys, just another reminder to get those likes up, man. If you're enjoying the content, me and Joe are streaming loads the last few days. Just do us a favor and hit the like button and subscribe if you're new around here. I'm already getting loads of messages in group chats here, by the way, people from fans of other clubs and rivals saying, wow, this will be scary. This will be scary. I think we all know, man, Musiala under Pep in this Manchester City team would be absolutely ridiculous. And he is the perfect Gundogan / Bernardo replacement. He is the perfect Manchester City next phase, the next generation of Manchester City midfielders. He is the perfect option, the perfect player to fill that role. So if we want to make it happen, we need to speak to him, tell him, put pressure on this new Bayern board. Bree, we're probably in the last few years of Pep, so this summer feel like the last time to give Pep the players he needs to win and work with him and improve. Well, this is a point that I was making, that if you want to keep Pep Guardiola, you want to keep challenging for leagues, you want to keep, being up there with the best, you need to give Pep Guardiola the resources. You need to give Pep the resources. And if Pep has identified Musiala as someone that he wants, we need to give Pep Musiala. Simple as. Simple as. There's no point having Pep Guardiola if you're not going to give him what he wants and needs to be successful. He's proven. Give him the resources, give him the players that he wants, he will bring you trophies. So give him what he wants to continue. Make him feel like it's worth his while to sign another contract. Because last summer wasn't. Last summer was not. Last summer was not a summer where Pep Guardiola is looking at and going, yeah, this is what I need. This is what I need. We don't need to do that much next summer or the summer after, because what we have now is what we can work with and what we can build on. No, it needs more. It needs more reinforcements. Rodri is tired. De Bruyne is tired. Foden is going to move into midfield. Bernardo might go. We need reinforcements. Attacking, creative reinforcements. I don't want to see Doku starting every game next season. All due respect to Doku, very good player. He's still 21. I don't want him starting every game next season. I know Musiala's 21, but they're two very different 21s. Musiala is an experienced, seasoned 21-year-old who you know what you're getting. Doku has a lot to do. Do you know what I mean? I don't want to see Kovacic too much next season. I'm just being honest. If Paqueta's there, if Musiala's there, I don't want to see that much of Kovacic. I'd rather go get a proper backup number 6. There's a big summer ahead. They've been threatening for years to spend big money. They've been threatening for years about this war chest, about what we're going to spend, ambition we're going to show. This is the summer. This is D-Day. This is the summer it has to be done. Give Pep what he needs, man. Give Pep what he needs. Because at the minute, this current squad, without proper business this summer, is not going to challenge properly next season. Because I guarantee you, Stones will continue to get injuries. De Bruyne will continue to get injuries. Rodri's not going to get any fresher. If he's playing 60 games a season again, he's not going to get any fresher. And then if Bernardo goes, and then you're relying totally on Phil Foden alone to be a creator. Totally. Maybe Doku a bit here and there, but it's just Phil Foden, Erling Haaland, you're then saying there's a lot of weight in your shoulders. That's too much, man. That's too much. We need reinforcements.
Yeah, I don't think there's really much else to say. Like, you can't. It's not sustainable. You can't have the record that we have in the big games that we have this season. We're in a weird season where we're still top, having not. Oh, well, not. It's not because we did. We beat Villa. Or beat United home and away, Tottenham in the cup, whatever, right? But it's not sustainable going into, future seasons to go and have the same record that we have now against these top clubs. We can't do it. It's an anomaly this season that Arsenal haven't managed to run away with it, despite them being, better in the big games in terms of their record in them, beating us, beating Liverpool, and still not being top. Like, it's not going to be that straightforward next season. Oh, at least I'm saying it's not going to be. It might be, but you can't rely on it. You can't rely on this happening again and having a subpar record against big teams and winning the league. You can't do it. That has to improve next season. The consistency in performances has to improve next season. There's been far too much inconsistency this season. Some of that comes down to team selection, injuries, like you mentioned, John Stones, Kevin De Bruyne. If they're going to be injured, then we need to sign players in those positions so that when they're not in the team, there's not this sort of, mumbo jumbo, none of this, fitting square pegs in round holes. We have players, we have consistency, we have a system. You can't have go into next season and have it heavily rely on 2 or 3 players. If those 2 or 3 players don't play, we look worse. Because you don't win trophies if you have one way of playing. You need to be versatile, you need to be fluid, you need to be able to do multiple things. Look at last season. We won a treble last season because we were able to defend well when we needed to, and we were able to score goals when we needed to. This season, we haven't been able to defend well, and we haven't been able to consistently put the ball in the back of the net.
Why? Because we're so one-dimensional. We don't have the resources. Quite clearly, Pep doesn't feel we have the resources to have an efficient plan B, or a plan B that he trusts, or a plan B that he's happy to run with. At least if you have a Musiala or a Paqueta or even a Florian Wirtz, who I think there's even less chance we get Florian Wirtz than there is Jamal Musiala. At least you have players who can go on and add something that wasn't already on the pitch. Whereas right now, we're bringing players off the bench, other than Doku maybe. We're bringing players off the bench who are adding what's already on the pitch and just continuing what's already on the pitch. So those games against Real Madrid, those games against Arsenal, those games against Liverpool, where we're requiring something different, an injection of pace, an injection of skill, an injection of flair or magic, it's not there. It's not there. You could put out the starting 11 that we had last night. Right, and it does exactly how it was doing. It's not breaking down Real Madrid. It's not getting any joy. You bring on a Paqueta off the bench, a totally different prospect to what we had in Bernardo Silva, a totally different prospect to what we have on the pitch in Phil Foden. You bring on Paqueta, all of a sudden, he's taking long shots. He's putting balls over the top. He's trying to thread balls through. He's trying to unlock the defense. He's trying to, create avenues to get even Haaland on the ball or get himself into positions. It's something different. It's something different that I think we're in dire need. If we continue the way we are right now into next season, we are even easier to stop. Because the blueprint is there. The blueprint is now there to stop Manchester City. You set up your defence, you do the crab defence side to side, and you keep us at bay. We need more options. We need more diversity, and we need more versatility. Telling you, man. Telling you, we need reinforcements this summer. It's a huge summer ahead. And City have to get it right. City have to pull out all the stops to give us the best chance next season, as well as to keep Pep happy. Keep Pep happy. No point having Pep Guardiola unless you're going to give him what he wants. We need to make the most of this era. We need to get as much dominance as possible, many trophies as possible out of this period that we have Pep Guardiola for. Because I guarantee you, people, in 2, 3, 4, 10 years, whenever he leaves, we're going to look back on that Pep era and go, wow, that was just outrageous what we did there. Did we make the most of it? I think we have up to now, it's fair to say, but we can still do more. We can still do more. So give him what he needs to still do more. Do you know what I mean? It's Pep Guardiola we're talking about, man. Champions League, baby. Do you know what I'm trying to say?
Well, he's only got 1 year left on his contract after this, which is next season. If you want to have any hope in signing him on, give him his players, give him his tools, give him what he wants. If he's happy, he'll stay. If he's happy with the way of the squad, if he's happy that he thinks he can keep going, that he's not tired, like Klopp said, tired. Come on. If he's not tired, he has his players, and he thinks he can keep winning, and he likes the situation he's in, he'll stay. Simple as that. He's always said that. He said, as long as the club want me and I'm happy, and they're happy with me, I'll stay.
As Jerry McHugh in the chat says, now is not the time to stumble over dollars chasing after pennies. Spend, City, man. Cheeky, open up that big, tight wallet of yours and take out some Wonga. It's Wonga season, people. It's Wonga season at the Etihad. Should be called the Wonga Etihad Stadium. Time to spend some moolah. Bring in these top players. Bring in what we need.
No Klarna.
Oh, man.
No paying with Klarna. None of that. Straight cash.
No installments, no finance, no Klarna, none of that, man. Just pay upfront cash money, baby. Claw wedge, yeah? Good claw wedge. Give Bayern what they want. If you invest in the club, the wins come and the money comes, man. You get it back in your success money. Anyways, that's kind of it. Musiala, Man City are in advance. What is it again? Here it is. Man City are planning a big push to sign Jamal Musiala. Where is it again? I want to see that word again. Yeah, Man City's interest in Jamal Musiala is advanced. Okay, so that's all we know for now. The interest is advanced. And I hope it continues to advance. Big up Jerry McHugh, man. Right, that's kind of it, people, for the Jamal Musiala news. Like I said, I didn't think we were going to go live again today. We're definitely not going live again after this because I have loads to do later on with Big Six and there's European football on. So we will be back tomorrow. Building up towards Chelsea. Do us a massive favor. Hit the like button. Subscribe if you're new around here. And enjoy the rest of your days. Wrap up, Joe.
Listen to your heart. Tell me who you wanna be. We can always start to believe. Listen to your heart. Tell me that you understand. 'Cause you